What's happening? Renegade Culture's in the house.
True. You doing some little R&B, son. You know what I'm saying?
I've been checking out my man Naka over there. He was singing before the damn joint.
Yeah, we had to shut him down.
Make the music
Okay.
with your mouth.
Shut the fuck up
With your mouth. Yo, big up to TJ Swan, man.
True.
Yeah.
Did he die?
Nah.
Oh, my bad. Okay. That's enough. Y'all only mention old rappers when they dead and some shit like that. Like, oh, god damn.
Renegade Culture. Yo, who are you?
Speaking of old rappers, we got a server in the building.
I'll take that.
Anyway.
Yo, I'm Kamau K. Franklin.
We doing
Nice to meet
intros?
you. Oh, okay.
You are?
Yes, I'm Kalonji Changa. If y'all don't know that shit by now, you fucking up.
What show you watching? Who we got back here?
And I go by the name of the Ear Doctor.
And I'm transmitting live from the planet Earth, Minister Server, along with...
It's your boy, Jai.
You know, both these guys, they got their whole little tagline.
I know.
Transmitting from the planet Earth, and this is It's Your Boy Jai.
And
It's like a routine.
That's
Their
right.
intros are longer than ours.
They are. I noticed that.
Ja doesn't seem high today.
Don't
What's
hate.
going on?
Congratulations.
He's sober.
You all right, Ja? You back there good?
You all right, man?
Yo, all right.
Hey, did you see the picture? Ear Doctor posted a picture of him getting his GED.
Finally.
Yeah, whatever, man.
What was the picture of? What
that
you
was
was
me getting my African Studies degree from Morris Brown,
That's right.
man.
Big up.
True that.
Had to
True.
shine a
Scholars
little
like
bit.
you, Renegade Culture. Scholars.
That's right.
That's right.
And Morris Brown in the
Come
same
on, man.
sentence? Okay.
Come on,
Anyway.
All right. Okay.
Speaking of scholars,
That's not speaking scholars. Yo, so
Yes.
we got a lot going on today in the
whole
world.
lot.
You know what I'm saying?
we had a dope interview today.
We do. Who's going to be our guest today,
I
man?
said we had one. We had an interview earlier today.
Oh, you mean with my man Benjamin Dixon?
Shout out to Ben Dixon.
Shout out to Ben for having us
Dixon.
on.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised he had us on.
Yep, he likes us, man. We like Ben. You know
No,
what
I'm
I'm saying?
saying I'm surprised after having Shelley Winters on here.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
the man. You know what I'm saying?
He was like, he's coming hard at Shelly. I thought he was going to bust Shelly's up.
He
You know
was
what I'm
like,
saying?
he's like, woo, 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 let me at him. You know what I'm saying?
I heard that Shelly's looking for all y'all from doing the show
Word,
today.
for
I heard
real.
he's looking for all y'all.
Okay.
Shelly
Well,
better
shit,
sit
I'm-
the
Better watch out.
sit the
Shelly
fuck
shivering.
down, Shelly.
Well,
That conservative Trump ass down. Yeah, you out of office now.
Man, look here, man.
Tell your white gang to stay where they at.
Listen, man. I ain't even gonna say nothing about Shelly. Shelly know we'll whoop that ass all up and down the street. Anyway,
Yo.
shout out to who's our people? Black Power Media?
Black Power Media, man.
Black Power Media.
Our numbers are rising. The
Yes.
shows are rising. You know what I'm
Temperatures
saying?
rising.
Everything is going great on Black Power Media.
A lot of dope shows. You got I Mix What I Like.
You got to mix what I like. We got the doctor's office.
Doctor's office is in there. Doctor's office interviewed me first. I ain't seen
Oh, he
the
did?
interview
It
yet.
didn't come up yet?
Man,
Oh,
shit.
damn. What's going
Never
on?
ever.
Doctor's
I
office?
wanted to get some good ratings, so
Yeah.
I went another direction.
Anyway, the doctor's office will be canceled next week. Anyway,
We got the last dope intellectuals.
the last dope intellectual.
Yeah,
Luke Ma Nation.
The Luke Ma Nation. I love the Luke Ma Nation.
I love
They real
them
cool.
so hard,
but,
man.
I'm saying?
you know, Luke. Hey, shout out to the Luke Mars. They tried to diss me on the show.
They did? What they say about you, B?
I mean, they shout me out, said I was sick or whatever.
Oh.
You know, 'cause somebody, the
They
ear
thought you
doctor.
still had COVID.
Yeah, because the ear doctor put up this old ass video.
It ain't that old.
I'm saying
It wasn't even a year old.
it's from November.
Socially distancing.
But I was just saying, what's Mrs. Luke Mars? Jackie Luke Mars.
Jackie, that's right.
She said that somebody said my scully was so heavy it was hurting my neck. Now, look here, Jackie. Look here, Miss Luke Mars.
Get him.
You and Mr. Luke Mars.
Get him.
Don't be that way now.
A war, a
Anyway.
battle.
Okay.
A crack off.
Yeah.
Do we
she-
mention
Crack off.
I mention what I like?
Of course,
Snap
you
our shows.
gotta mention I make
My man Jared.
Yes,
What did he say? What you want to say over there?
I said a crack off. He said a snack off.
Now.
Anyway,
So,
moving right along.
you know what I'm
they
saying?
go try
So
to
we did
front.
I mix it I like. So yo, check out blackpowermedia.org.
No doubt.
Check us out on YouTube. And Patreons. We got some new Patreons. Can
Yes.
we name our Patreons?
Yes, we do.
Of the arts?
Doing it like Run DMC once again. Big up to KB Jones.
Big up to Gabriel Bailey.
Okay.
Big up to Neo Donatello.
Big up to LM Jax.
Big up to Daphne Brown.
Big up to MX Free Dunn.
Geronimo Collins.
Elliot Hampton.
And Marva Berry.
Yeah. Big up to Patreon. Appreciate y'all. For real.
Marva Berry, we appreciate you checking us out, and to everyone else that's on there, whatever. Marva's one of the sisters we know that been putting in work since before we ever came. Don't be trying to tell me to wrap up my shit when I'm goddamn talking about Marva. You know what I'm saying? When you hear you talking about chubby checkers, whoever the fuck you were talking about, I'm trying to interrupt you. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, shout out to Marva Berry and all the Patreons.
Yeah, keep on giving so we can fuck up your names on live on radio. You know what I'm saying?
Live on air. By our two distinguished
derelicts.
Derelicts over here.
Whatever.
Straight. And these two, they both went to black universities.
They did.
HBCUs.
Oh, which one did you go? Which one you went to, server?
I didn't just go to. I'm a graduate of Wilberforce University.
Okay.
Wilberforce?
Wilberforce University.
Where that? I don't
You
even
don't
know
know
that
Wilberforce University?
Hell
You
no.
the black scholar don't know Wilberforce University?
I don't know that. I went to CUNY, son.
The private HBCU in the country.
You
1856.
say HBO at first?
HBCU in the country. Don't switch it around. You're a scholar. You're supposed to know Wilberforce. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Challenge.
That's a fine. It's a fine.
In any event,
Who we got on the show tonight?
No.
No.
Me the fuck off.
Well, he's trying to get the intro done, yo. He's saying it's too long. So let me just jump in there.
Okay.
We got Marcus Kline.
Word.
Okay.
Marcus Kline, who's opened up his own school.
Yes, Marcus Kline, Freedom Home Academy, Frontline Magazine, and he's dropping a brand new magazine. Comrade, we've been rocking with for over 20 years plus.
And he's going to come on and talk about the state of black schooling, black youth, how to improve it, how to do it right, how to make sure that we not subjugated ourselves to their education. We're also going to have on brother Marcus Coleman.
Marcus Coleman. It's a Marcus night tonight.
That's right.
Tonight we're going to have Marcus Coleman on as well. Marcus Coleman's going to be talking about the case of Kendrick Johnson. The whole case has been opened back up.
Yes.
Marcus Coleman is playing an intricate role in that case, as he has been for years. So we're going to, get the latest on that. Yeah. Well, also, while we talking, we'd be remiss if we forget to mention. We did not mention our favorite freedom fighter, Mumia Abu-Jamal, who is currently ill. He's still locked up, and we're looking for a compassionate release for Mumia. He's been locked up for 40 years and counting right now. A good brother is suffering from COVID, hepatitis C,
liver damage, heart failure,
heart failure, the
diabetes.
whole nine. So we're looking to, we'd like you all. We're going to put up
on the bottom third
numbers for you to call. Please call because of the fact that right now we need this brother to come home. You know what I'm saying? He's gravely ill.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we're on the right side of things.
Yeah. So people just look at that number down below and call or write letters. We'll be back. Renegade Culture.
No doubt.
Yeah.
What's happening, Renegade Culture? Back again.
You know what I'm saying? We back with our special guest.
Okay, we got my man Marcus Kline in the building, Freedom Home Academy.
How you doing, brother Marcus? Are you chewing on food back there? What you doing back there? Are you eating? I see you chewing on food, brother. You're not allowed to do that. You're like the fifth guest to chew on food up in Renegade Culture.
That man said he eating healthy today.
He eating healthy? All right. Some yum earth stuff. That's some good stuff there. That's some good stuff.
Okay. So we got my man Marcus in the building. He's been working on Freedom Home Academy for about a decade plus right now. Some of you that really know him, going back a couple of decades, you remember you remember Frontline Magazine. You know what I'm saying? And Marcus has stayed on his task as Minister of Education. You understand what I'm saying? The undisputed Minister of Education.
Undisputed? Who's it? Umar? Were you with Umar?
Well, I mean...
Umar said he's going to come after you because you actually got a school running and he wasn't too pleased. He's like, you messing up his money biz, B. You messing up his money game.
No Umar reference.
No Umar, my bad.
Hey, tell him, taint your Freedom Home Academy, man.
True that, true.
Anyway, what's the latest, brother? We've been seeing you around, doing your thing, and
Well, the latest now is, we have a couple proactive programs we're right in the middle of starting up. So I just wanted to give just the audience, let them know that Frontline Magazine is back. We starting a new issue online starting the 15th of March, which is Monday. So we're going online with that. In addition, we have Ade Medical Group. We started a medical center. That's going to be either in May we're supposed to sign the lease in May, but due to COVID, we may push it back to June. But we're going to be focused on chronic illnesses in the city of Chicago, inner city. We're located right on 87th Street. We're going to do just holistic health. We're going to treat holistically with a sliding pay scale. For those who on Medicaid and whatnot. But we will be focusing on some mental health, asthma, hypertension, of course, HIV, alcoholism, things of that nature. So that's new on tap.
Now, what are the grades?
Go ahead.
What grades you talking for the medical portion?
Say it one more time. What's the first? I didn't hear the first part.
The grades. What are the grades? What grades are you focusing on with the medical school?
At the grades at the school?
Yes, I'm saying in regards to the medical portion of it.
No, the medical is going to be for the public. It's going to be a clinic.
Okay, it's a clinic itself. Okay.
So when you open back up the Freedom Home Academies, I think you're going to need a space for Kalonji in like second grade or something like that. I don't,
No, Kalonji sharp. No, Kalonji sharp.
You sharp? Okay.
Sharp as a butter knife.
They knew here, Klein. They knew. Don't worry about it.
He has a wide range of prowessness. He can touch on a lot of different aspects of the program. And that basically that's what it is. It's another social program. Obviously that we learned from the party. You know what I'm saying? Just some of the things that we need to tackle in the community and address. Health, of course, housing, of course, we're working on that too. But the medical health clinic is one of the things that I've been wanting to do maybe the last 6 or 7 years.
So going back to your
I didn't have the know-how, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So going back to your history, because one of your main focuses is education of Black youth. Tell us a little bit about Freedom Home Academy in terms of how it got started, and why you started to focus in on Black education in terms of your organizing work and your activism.
No doubt. We started in 2007, my wife and I, who's now deceased. But my wife, Ashaki, she was the actual impetus for me starting the school. I had no intention on starting the school, building anything outside of, just my family. We had a son, so we were looking around for an African-centered program and a curriculum. We were very dissatisfied with what we saw in Chicago. We saw a lot of culture-heavy programs and a couple schools that were culture-heavy, but nothing that met the academic rigor that we were looking for. So we developed one. We piecemeal together. My son was going to a African-centered daycare. It was called Children of the Sun. She wound up closing. So she gave me an avenue to let her parents know that we about to open. So we used the opportunity to open up in 2008. We started with 4 students, including my son who was 4. And all 4 of those students graduated at 16. Now one is at Howard, full ride, one is at Bradley, one is at MIT student, full ride, another one's at Spelman. So those first 4 students, they're all doing well. And it was said that Freedom Home Academy wouldn't last long. And I always mention that because they said the same thing about Frontline. But again, the impetus was my wife. I had no intention. So we kind of piecemeal the program together, and we started in our basement. In 2008, we moved. We've been in quite a few locations in the last 14 years. So now we're at a larger location. We started the nursery school. That was the last venture we did. I have a 3-year-old son now. We'll actually be 4 next month. So we had to start a daycare, for him. So we started that. My son graduated from the 8th grade. So we had to start a high school in 2017 for him. So we have a high school in Krumah International Academy that's focusing on our 4 pillars. And we consider those medicine, law, engineering, and entrepreneurship. So we have those programs for the entire school. So we moved, our last move, hopefully our final move, was where we are now, which is almost a 6,000 square foot piece of property that we're still renting, but it's it's half of the rent I was paying at three quarters of the size place. So we're definitely in a different position now, even as far as our resources, due to that. But the last couple of years have been very tumultuous. We've had a lot of issues. On top of that, the whole COVID piece, which is kind of like a benefit, I would say, because we moved online. So that added more resources to us when we lost quite a few students, due to COVID. And, I didn't, to be honest, I didn't.
When you lose them,
I didn't know how we were going to sustain with
just
that.
to be clear, when you say lost students, you mean they went to other schools, right? Obviously, right?
Well, not dead.
Yeah. That's what I meant to make sure.
I should use another word. But we had the unfortunate ability to I don't know. But we did lose them. They decided not to continue because we were going online and not in the building. A lot of those students that we have, a lot of students that we do have, it's very concentrated. The curriculum is concentrated on face-to-face methodology, and the parents understood that those particular students, while they were online, it wouldn't have the same resiliency. So they decided, we're going to wait till you open back up. So we wound up losing those. It was almost like maybe 15 or 16 students that weren't able to come back. That's $9,000. You know what I'm saying? That we on the real. So looking at it from a financial standpoint, the COVID has set us back that first month, which was March. But when we decided to go online, we added over 85 new students, at full price tuition. Yeah. So we were able to sustain by doing that.
Now I want to point out that I witnessed the basement school. You know what I mean? I can remember visiting.
I remember you came.
Yeah. Just coming down. Yeah. Marcus was like, "Man, I'm about to start a school down here. This is what the curriculum look like, so on and so forth." And you gotta know, for the audience, I've been knowing my man. We've been organizing together for at least 2 decades. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, 2 decades plus, going back before Chairman Fred came out. We did the Welcome Home Fred piece when Chairman Fred Jr. was coming out. Mama Core, shout out to Mama Core. You know what I mean? She contacted myself, my man Nkrumah, and Marcus Kline, and we organized this joint from 3 different states. You know what I mean? Back when there was no social media, and we was just barely using the internet at all. You know what I mean? So our history is crazy. So when he started talking about opening the school, I'm like, man, Kline, you bugging, man. You talking about school in your basement. I'm like, what, you gonna open a nursery school? I mean, you babysitting? But he's done incredible.
But you know what, Kline, I want to cut you off, but it's good that we speak to that because it's important relative to the development of myself and the school. We made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, bro. Like a lot of mistakes that I feel if I didn't have community support, I wouldn't be able to have a school right now. And I think that since we were rooted in community activism and community activity, the parents understood, and they were able to, aid me along, because some of the stumbles that I made, if it wasn't known that I had a history of, community activism, doing things in the community, not to mention Frontline Magazine. So people had a knowledge of me. So I was given a pass on a lot of stumbles that I made, and I always speak to those brothers and sisters who actually believed in us.
So real quickly, before we're about to take a break soon, but I wanted to get into the methodology. So if you could quickly just give us an overview of like what makes your school different, let's say, than other either Black cultural schools or obviously like white schools that try to teach Black youth. Like, what would you say?
I think out the gate, when we talk about methodology, it's frequency and duration. We extend a lot of the academics over a longer period of time, not to mention the fact that the grades aren't based on age, they're based on ability. So we're very assessment driven. So when the child comes, let me know when it's time for break. I won't even go into it till I'll just wait. But when a child comes into our school, he's assessed, right? So, say he's 5, that's pre-K. So the system will automatically put him in kindergarten, right? We won't. We will assess him or her where they are, and we'll place him in a particular grade that we've already structured. We've customized the grade already for him. So now he has the ability to move up with no restraints. You know what I'm saying? He knows timetables. He's in the 1st grade. Well, why keep him in the 1st grade? Let's put him in the 3rd based on our criteria. So they have an ability to move up. In addition to that, it's culture. We learn about us first, with academic rigor, because the difference would be, why give a child SAT prep when he gets to high school. Well, let's give them to him in the 5th grade, right? So we have SATs inculcated inside of our English curriculum. So when those 15 and 14-year-olds are taking SATs, they getting 13s and 14s early. So now it's up to the parents whether you want to send him to college at 15 and 16. It's up to you. So in a nutshell, you know, we don't relegate our children to what the system considers upward mobility. You know what I'm saying? We create that, you know, based on our assessments and of course on the national standards. You know, we put all those together and we created a customized curriculum for that child. Not a perfect system at all. You know, all the children don't make YouTube videos. All of them don't, you know what I'm saying? But I would say between 85 and 90% of the students, they do exceptionally well.
We're going to come back to you.
Okay.
We're going to come back to you in a few ticks. We're listening to or checking out Marcus Kline, Freedom Home Academy. When we come back, one of the questions I want to start off with is how important, as an African educator, how important is political education, to have political education in educating our youth. We're going to be right back at you.
Renegade Culture.
Saturday Renegade Coach in the building.
Yo, we back.
Okay.
Black.
Okay.
I like that. That's my favorite.
Okay. Shout out to
Count Blackula, you know what I'm saying? It's a cereal sponsor of ours. It's our cereal sponsor.
Shout out to your crew in the back. You know what I'm saying? Doing the cheerleading for you. It's all good. Anyway, we're back with man Marcus Kline. Marcus is talking about Freedom Home Academy and politics. One of the questions I was saying that I wanted to ask Marcus is about in regards to political education. There's a lot of African-centered schools around. They don't necessarily roll with the politics. Oftentimes, you know, we have a lot of cultural nationalists who confuse revolution with, you know, with cultural garb and so on and so forth. So I wanted to know from you, what's your take on that? What do you, the rest of the earth? That right there says it all. That says it all. Speak on that.
Okay, so why, let's go to two questions. Let's answer two. Why is it important to use political education to reach the seeds? And the second question I'm answering is, why is it important to inculcate political education in everyday practicality, right? So when I say everyday practicality, what I mean is, student comes into school, day one, first day in the building. He must be initiated to some type of politic because he left one politic, which was streets of Chicago, gang banging, or whatever. So we have to overcompensate with a politic, right? So the politic we choose is revolutionary politics, right? Okay, so what is that? That is using the things that we have to move our politic forward, right? Visual, we use Huey Newton in the chair, right? Okay, why is that important? Out of all the pictures, why use that? Because Shorty just left the street. He's very familiar with the pistol, right? He's attracted to that. He's also familiar with sometimes Huey Newton. Well, if not, he knows what a spear is. So oftentimes that big picture, I can use that to initiate a conversation about our politic, right? Revolutionary activity, right? So we're talking about Black Panther Party. We always talk about them because the party can take us to 5, 6 different areas of historical content like this. So Rest of the Earth Friends for 9. Okay, cool. One of the organizations that assisted the development of the party was what? RAM. We know that. We know SNCC. We know ABB, African Blood Brotherhood. We know Diggins for Defense, right? Huey talked about all those organizations in Revolutionary Suicide, right? So while we read that, we've already fanned out over 12, 13 weeks of literary material for them to read, right? So cool. Marcus, what about the violence? What about the violence in the party? We don't even have to talk about that. We can talk about the 17 social programs, and we do. So sickle cell anemia clinics. Now we're going into medicine. So the politics is very practical. The literature is there, right? SAT words in the lit. So all the excuses that parents used to give me about, we talk about the priority too much. The children gravitate to that. Mm-hmm. We study it today. Yeah. They gravitate to it because it's practical. When you talk about, okay, what do we need in the hood? Little bro, what we need in the hood? Man, my cousin, they was homeless. Housing, right? Mm-hmm. We need coats in the winter. So all those things we can weave in. And the reason why I use the party, and people like, man, you talk about the party too much. I don't, because it's practical. It's everyday political activity. On the ground, we can do it. So the students, what they want to know, they always want to know about that. So that's one reason why it's important. We use it as, I wouldn't say bait and switch, but, once they get attracted to that, we can move them into different areas. We got Grand Poobah's son. We got his youngest son in the school, Hakan, right? So he's like, a lot of things with the party, and I can get into that. I can get into that later. And I realized that the conscious community, if we want to say that, there's a segment that steers away from that, right? They're not on the other spectrum of cultural nationalism, but they're in between. They really don't touch on the party. I know that from being in the community for the last 20 years. Yeah. That's not touched upon. So, he's adding father's, Grand Poobah from the Brand Nubians, dad. But a lot of things in the party he knew nothing about. Culture-wise, yes. Mm-hmm. But the party, Huey, Bobby, all that, Chairman Fred, never heard of him, right? So now, it's my job to inject him with that activity. Okay, cool. Did you see the movie? Oh yeah, I saw it. No. So we're talking about that. I want them to be involved in the entire process of not just about the party, but the historical content of the party. So it ain't that like we are worshiping these individuals. We're using them, as light posts.
How's that been received with the parents? Because I know that oftentimes when you're talking about revolution, a lot of times we've been to different places and we've seen different folks come out to check out the school here in Atlanta and different places, and they're enthusiastic about their children learning, but oftentimes, they kind of shy away, like you said, that middle ground. How is that? What's been your experience with that?
I always bring this story up. Some elders are walking out of the free breakfast program with 2 bags of food, right? Police pull up. Then where you get that food from? Oh, we got it down from the Black Panther. They passing out food, right? So the cops say, them guys are communists, right? She said, I don't give a fuck what they is. Don't fuck with them because they feeding us, right? So that gives correlation to the parents and how they react to me teaching revolutionary culture, right? They're reading. Shorty ain't read a book in 3 years. Now he's reading Rich of the Earth. Don't understand 80% of it, but so what? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what? Because now, the last 8-9 years, I get no resistance from parents. The only resistance I get is in the form of I'm leaving, right? And it's really about what the content of the curriculum is leaving due to financial reasons, it's due to me. Oh, you're arrogant, that whole thing, Black man is confident, he's arrogant, whatever. Yeah. But that's a problem in itself. But I get no resistance. If I do, I don't hear it. I'm sure I do. I don't hear it because they're reading. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they're asking questions. Those same students who are 13 and 14 that came in with a 3rd and 4th grade reading level. Now they're reading Revolutionary Suicide, Blood in My Eye. They're reading Rest of the Earth, Black on Black Violence by Amos Wilson. And they're asking their parents questions and things like that.
Do you
parents
find that?
Like, okay, we cool.
Do you find that
I don't
students
agree
have?
with it. They sit in the Zoom classes. They're in the Zoom classes.
Yeah.
I got 7, 8 parents that's sitting in, like,
They
writing stuff down. Bob Marcus, repeat that again for me. And that's cool.
Yeah.
Right?
So let me jump in.
I welcome that.
Let me jump in. Do you feel like, based on this curriculum, have your students now been involved in more community activism or organizing that you've seen? And does your school even provide like those opportunities as part of its curriculum for folks to get like involved in the community, in addition to their formal education?
That's a good question. I don't see it as much as I would like to. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And that's due to the things that we need relative to boarding. We need boarding schools, like straight up and down. We need to have boarding schools because, directly at your question, Kamau, those students, they get me for 3 hours a day, some of them 4 hours a day, and then they go home to like wretchedness. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we have to re-educate on Monday all over again because it wasn't reinforced at home. So there's a few, there's a few. I mean, even my son, I would like him to be involved more into that, but he's bogged down with school. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's not easy for parents to do what we do and even to extend what I do without education. So boarding schools and educating parents. I gave up on one. I'm still trying to do the boarding school, but educating the parents to extend what we're trying to do at the school, it's a challenge. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, to answer your question directly, it can be more. I would be satisfied if it was more students involved in activity than it is.
Tell us about the magazine. We have a few minutes left. You know what I'm saying? We definitely, we could do a whole show and a half because of the fact that we got so many things that we could touch on. But
we got some strong cats. We got some strong cats, man. I started the magazine, as you know, way back. And again, Shaki was the impetus. You should do a magazine. For what? You know what I'm saying? So I needed her in a lot of different aspects. I still do, as a matter of fact. But I'm struggling along. I'm stumbling my way through it. But the magazine is, we was doing 2 languages, bro. Like we had a French issue. We was in Africa. We was putting them out in Brazil. It was doing really well. I couldn't do both though. I couldn't do the school and the magazine. So we're bringing it back. Only one twist. We got 4 students who are writing articles now. Agabin is one of them. So they're reading material. We're gonna start doing some interviews, having the interviews linked in to the articles. So we got some good things coming up for the magazine. What I want to do is we're doing online subscriptions, $100 for a year, $10 per issue. We want to fund some of these projects with this revenue. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be hearing about just me pushing it. I'm going to just push the subscriptions. You know what I'm saying? We have some, like I said, we got quite a few things on tap for this year that we're trying to do. So we're going to use the magazine.
Now, before we let you go, we understand that me and you, or maybe our organizations, had some past beef.
Okay, so I'll make it real quick. It's funny though, because it's funny. You didn't attach my name to the magazine, but we did a CD, right? Mm-hmm. So we was doing a CD of like live hip hop music. So I ain't gonna mention Sis' name, but it was. So I was in contact with Sis, and me and Sis were working together on some cats. So we used Black August, some of their live music, and we put it on our CD. We put our CD inside the magazine, and we were selling. So we had like 10,000 CDs print up. We had like Common when he did perform with y'all, of course, Mose, Black Star, and all that, right? Yeah. So it was cool. Like it was cool. She okayed it. She okayed the music. Her and bro, but she didn't see the magazine yet, right? So the magazine was like, we had an article about Baruti in there about homosexuality, right? So the actual magazine and the CD, since they were together, she told me to send. So I sent about 50 of them to New York. Immediately, I got a call, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to have to pull them boys, right? because there are some things in the magazine that is not politically aligned, with MXG, right? I gave her the old, it's too late. I already sent them out. So we got to get law on it, which was you.
Oh, word.
I think I talked to you maybe twice, right? I mean, everything was cool. You know what I'm saying? You were professional.
I was professional.
You know what I'm saying?
True that. True.
You don't
true.
Remember, but
I laid the law down.
My wife was like,
"Did you pull them?"
My wife was like, "Fuck them." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "No, I can't do that," because they gave me the real, like all kidding aside.
Hey.
I was like, "Nah, we can't do that because nah."
Hey, shout out to Ashaki. Hey, shout out to Ashaki, because I know she said fuck
cool
them.
Though. Like,
hey,
I see. Look, years went past. Like I told Kalonji, I seen them in Jamaica one time. Me and Changa went on a vacation. We kicked it. Everything was cool. They probably wound up forgetting because I ain't bringing it up. But it was a small blimp. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a big deal. But
cool, man.
I remember Kamau Franklin's name because
that was my job. That was my job.
I put his name.
I was a trademark Black August, so
computer.
I did a lot of shit.
You told me to call you back one time. It wasn't no big deal.
So Marcus, So man, it was great to have you on. We want to have you back and talk more about the school and the magazine in the near future.
Give us the website.
What's the website?
FreedomHomeAcademyInternational.net. So FHAITL.net. You can check us out. It's 4 sites. So you can do Freedom Home Academy. You can do Nkrumah International Academy. That's the high school. Check us out on Facebook. Freedom Home Academy International. Yep.
Thanks so much, brother. We thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're going to be back with our next guest, Marcus Coleman, right after this. Renegade Culture.
No doubt.
Peace and much love. I am Minister Server, right here with your hip hopstery. Do y'all know who this is? This is Lana Mora, also known as MC Light, straight out of the planet of Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? When she dropped, not only was she one of the first female MCs, but she was just a dope MC, period. She dropped her first single, I Crammed to Understand, at the age of 16, which was one of the first songs that talked about crack. You know what I'm saying? Now, later on, she dropped her album, Light as a Rock, in 1988, which was the first female album to go gold. She also was the first female rapper to perform at Carnegie Hall. She has so many firsts. We could just go through the firsts that she has, you know what I'm saying? But right now, she does a lot of things in acting. She's an entrepreneur. She's a DJ. But what she's really known for now, she does so many different voiceovers for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Delta. She does the voiceover for the I Am Hip Hop Awards, the BET Awards. In fact, she's a winner of the BET I Am Hip Hop Award. She's also the only female that's on the Stop the Violence, Self-Destruction song, and she's also on the Human Education Against Lies. MC Light does a lot of things with the AIDS Foundation and activism, so make sure when you're studying hip-hopstery, you understand about MC Light. Word.
What's happening, Renegade Coaches in the building?
Yo, we back again, you know what I'm saying, with a new guest.
Hey, man, look what the ants drug in. Straight out of motherfucking College Park.
That's right, my man, Marcus Coleman.
Hold it.
What?
The brother told us before we got started. You know what I'm saying? He's been on a few big shows tonight.
That's stuff.
Okay,
That's stuff.
A few big shows tonight.
I have.
And he said he had to come play the role of the.
I had to come through and talk to my people.
True. Is that the ants, the little people?
Come speak to the small publication, he said. Anyway.
But speaking about big things, big important things, you know what I'm saying? Bring it back. Tell
us what's going on, man. We ain't seen you in a while, man. You know.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Outside of Jerry Ball.
Well, I see things are getting bigger and better and brighter.
Okay.
And should be, considering, the gifts that you guys do have come through here.
True.
And the two hosts, they not half bad.
Okay.
But no, real spit, man. Renegade Culture, man. Y'all, the real and not just on some personality, but substance, right? Man, today has been hectic. If it wasn't for you guys, real spit, man, I had already, turned it in. I got to head to Louisville tomorrow for the 1-year anniversary of the Breonna Taylor
1 year by
death.
1 year is going by.
1 year, man. 1 year Saturday. Big event. Shout out to my sister and Tamika Mallory, man. I've been running point. But yeah, man, you guys, personally, you've definitely met the family. I can't remember if you
I'm
have.
not sure about the family. No.
Yeah, but the Kendrick Johnson family, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, man, 8 years, 2 months and a day, literally. This is the gentleman, the child, right, that was found dead in Lowndes County High School down in Valdosta, Georgia, rolled up in a wrestling mat. Initially, even before the autopsy report was complete, the sheriff said back in, he was found January 11th, 2013. April 2013, they closed the case on a local level, but the sheriff at that time, Sheriff Prine, stated it was an accident. There was only one thing wrong with that, counselor.
What was wrong?
There was no autopsy report that had been presented yet. But then, of course, maybe a week or so later, after continuous protests by the family, down in Valdosta, myself included at times, the first autopsy came back positional asphyxiation. The story is that this young man, and we know it's 8 years old, but there's a whole new generation that's energized too. It's good just to hear the nuts and the bolts. A wrestling mat rolled up in a circular type of shape, stored upright. The story is that he stored additional sneakers up under the mat during school. He climbed up on the bleachers in order to get to the height of the mat and jimmied himself down in the core of the mat. There's only one problem with that. The core of the mat is probably about maybe 10, 12 inches wide. Kendrick's shoulders stretch from 17 to 19. You learn in preschool you can't stick a square hole, right? A square peg in a round hole. But they wanted to say that that's what he did. He suffocated, his lungs filled up with fluid and he died. We all knew that was bogus and that was bullshit.
And they closed the case. Based on that, there was no prosecution. There was no additional investigation in terms of
on the state level, yes.
So then what has happened recently that you've been involved in that got the case opened back up?
Now, before that, you should mention that there's also been a couple.
That's where I was going with it. Autopsies?
Right. And his body's been exhumed how many times now?
It's been exhumed twice now. And, excuse me, because, just playing it back, but it is very layered. The family has exhumed his body twice for 2 separate independent autopsies. Each one of those autopsies state blunt force trauma. The reason for that determination is because of some severe hemorrhaging in the tissue area of his main artery. That is actually identical to when the EMTs pulled him up out of the mat. It is documented that he had severe hemorrhaging on the scene at Lowndes County. Well, speeding up, since October of 2020, on the heels of what I like to say the uprising, when plenty of us were out in the community, all across the nation. Again, shout out to Sister Tamika because they got a mini victory, which I looked at huge legally, when they were able to make public what is normally secret in the grand jury proceedings. Well, I thought what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Other families, other advocates, they should follow that suit. And I thought, what better case than Kendrick? So that is what led me to first start to try to get this push of reopening. That led me to the Middle District of Georgia and Macon. I've kind of skipped over some, but for the sake of time, and man, unbeknownst to me, Macon said they recused themselves. Macon is the original governing body. Kendrick's case literally ended up in the U.S. Department of Justice. That needs to be noted, the Homicide Division. They said no questions are to be asked here or answered here, obviously, and sent me to the Northern District of Ohio. It would take a minute to understand why we're in Ohio, but long story shorter, talked back and forth to that U.S. Attorney's office. They really weren't excited, about asking, but I basically put pressure on them by saying that these parents were coming to Ohio because this is the only place they can get answers from. And if you deny them access or answers, then, that will be the story. Now, retired U.S. Attorney Herdman, because of the new administration, he was under the Trump administration. We met with him and his team, laid it out. He said that, he's a man of his word. Before he left office, he would make this a priority. He literally had 2 months in office. We didn't leave there too hopeful. But again, he is a man of his word because of that, it led to his office before he left, filing papers in the federal system of Valdosta, and that was to be able to share information. There are 17 boxes that arrived in Valdosta, Lowndes County at the Sheriff's Department, give or take 10 or 12 days ago. Those 17 boxes and other information are what the Northern District of Ohio shared with Lowndes County. The reopening of this case has just happened. Sheriff Polk agreed to do that. He agreed to do that because of these 17 boxes.
So the local sheriff has decided to reopen the criminal investigation or an investigation into the cause of Kendrick Johnson's death.
The investigation into the cause of Kendrick Johnson's death.
Is federal authorities going to be involved?
Done with it.
Or
no.
they're done with it? This is now back into the local sheriff's hands to try to see if there's going to be a new determination around the cause of his death, which may lead to charges.
This has gone from Lowndes County Sheriff's Department, where it originated, assisted with Valdosta PD, the GBI, because that's where the first autopsy was done, the U.S. Attorney's offices, Northern District of Ohio, Middle District of Georgia, the feds, of course, and then the governing body ultimately was the U.S. Department of Justice. This case actually, according to former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, was one of her top 3 domestic priorities. Now it's all the way back to the begin. Last thing I'll say on this, not only are we ecstatic, but in the same breath, cautiously optimistic, but ecstatic because it is back at the local level, because the federal level is normally where we run to for our last recourse, right? But you can only get a charge that stems from a violation of one's civil rights. There's no murder, there's no manslaughter. Where there is now the possibility of it. Now, when I say possibility,
let me stop you for a second. Are there people who are considered suspects in the case who were never charged? Or is that still an open question in terms of who's actually responsible for Johnson's death?
That would be a better way to put it. What I would only like to piggyback on is the federal government, even though their investigation is closed now, they named publicly 3 targets of their investigation. Okay. One of the targets was a local FBI agent and currently employed at the time, and the other 2 were his sons that went to school with Kendrick. So we know that's in the file. Not everyone, but that's publicly known. So those are the only 3 that I know are in the file, but this sheriff has agreed to re-interview everybody and also interview those that weren't interviewed. He's not the type, as far as stereotypically his appearance, that you would think would be supportive. But there's one thing that we all know, and everybody's been talking about Fred Hampton, right? In his multi-racial and this melting pot of justice. Well, I sat across from a cat that looks typically like a redneck. Typically, I mean, that's what he would consider himself, and that's literal. But truth, justice, and what the hell happened there in his town. He was the former sheriff before this happened to Kendrick. He fell ill. Then he became the sheriff again, and he said he ran because he hated the way the investigation was handled, and this was something he wanted to take as priority, and he's been a man of his word ever since.
Now, rewinding a little bit, right? You mentioned the federal agent and his 2 sons who were implemented.
Yep. Targets of the federal investigation.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, they turned around and sued the Johnson family?
No. Thank you. The Johnsons have recently, 6-7 months ago, terminated their counsel, and let's celebrate. If you got some trumpets or whatever you got, play them. Straight up, Attorney Shaveen King is the reason why this damn family, man, is in debt over $250,000. A lawsuit that was filed by him named like 33 to 35 defendants. It drug out. I remember being in the meeting with the U.S. Attorney early on and him asking not to file civil because it's going to interfere with the criminal investigation. What did he do? He did it. What did it do? It interfered. It drug out. Then ultimately the play was drop the lawsuit and refile. Well, it had played out for almost a year. So what did those 33, 35 defendants do? Are their attorneys? They sued for the work.
Yeah.
Long story in this matter, and we definitely are exploring, and that's pretty light of a word, a bar complaint, because I do believe it's a way for this family to get that money off of their head.
Yeah, so basically the folks who were originally sued for their time and effort in terms of defending the lawsuit.
Absolutely.
And the judge handed them that, and that money is now owed to them by the family.
Absolutely.
Legally speaking of Johnson. Okay.
Yes, sir. And the only thing I wanted to really add to that is the hearing that was to argue the legal fees, the hours. And, you know, it was 2 days. I mean, it was supposed to be a couple of hours. This man, I promise you, counselor, I promise you, 24 sustained objections. There were 15 attorneys at this table and him at this. This man ran off folks like Attorney Crump. He ran off other folks. He has really put this family in some jeopardy, and now they are now he is terminated, and it couldn't be a better time as we get this kind of resurgence.
Yeah.
So technically, counselor, we are looking for a legal representation.
Well, let's talk about that. So we're going to wrap up this segment and come back with our outro and talk a little bit more with Marcus Coleman about another case that he's got coming up right back on Renegade Culture.
Blah. One, two, 1, 2. What the hell we gonna do? Anyway, we back. Renegade Culture. We got my man Marcus Coleman, who happens to be
a little soft shoe right there.
Yeah. Well, my man, this cat been doing some snaps today. And shit.
What the hell that was? A little man.
I mean, cool.
A little man came. A little 1 and 2.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
What the hell was that? Yo?
Let me show y'all these real quick.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, now back to you,
call
Chuck.
it soft shoe?
Oh
my God! Hey.
Anyway, let's get
Ain't
back
gonna talk
to
about them doctor shows he ran. But anyway, in real life. But anyway, even when he barefooted.
Should we talk about the sandals in the socks?
Okay, now.
It's been a long time.
See, Marcus Coleman has been invited here.
Pictures and all.
And he think cause his eyes is cherry red.
Well, you know,
then he gonna get away with this.
Yeah, man, you know.
Anyway.
Yeah, man, let's talk a little bit more about
other prescriptions we use. What's, you know.
Amen.
Yeah.
Stop muttering. Just wait for your question.
Something about genital warts. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
It's rough in here, boy.
My man Marcus Coleman, you know, this brother's no stranger to the media.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on.
Here we go.
You know, we went to.
Here we go.
You had the whole situation with
Kendrick was real, but now we're gonna get real.
And now, maybe about a month or so ago, Marcus was out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the street, Roosevelt Highway.
Yes, sir.
Roosevelt Highway. We recognized
even on National Highway.
Okay. And we saw Marcus out there, and Marcus was walking. He had his camera, and he's like, "God damn it! Somebody now caused this goddamn traffic." So he came outside, and he went up to an officer. He said, "Excuse me, sir. What the fuck is you doing in this car?" We got all this motherfucking traffic going on. Officer rolled the window up. He said, "Look here, Mr. Coleman. Don't start that shit around here."
Now, see, you playing into the hands of the narrative of those that's painting this false narrative of I was aggressive and.
He wasn't aggressive,
okay,
brother.
Nah.
Man. He's sensitive now.
No.
I mean, this is to bring a level of seriousness to it.
Tell the story on the real.
Well, you can't tell. This is a real case that's happening. This happened in South Fulton.
Indeed.
Where basically, I guess you try to ask an officer what they can do to get traffic moving, and that officer's response was to be belligerent, to physically accost you, and at the time, at least, it seemed to arrest you, right? So,
yeah. Important to note, I was actually driving and literally almost got hit myself in this terrible area, which made me pull over, and then ask the question about why is no one directing traffic, and then everything you said. Yes,
yeah. And so, and you've talked about. I mean, you did videotape about this. This has been something that we did a workshop on and talked about. And so you've pressed charges. So you are trying to see if something can happen to that cop who accosted you
And violated my Fourth Amendment rights
That's right,
with
that's right.
illegal detention.
All
Yes, sir.
right. And so GBI just came out with a report.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
talk a little bit about what the next steps are, what's happening
Yes, sir.
in terms of the South Fulton case?
Right now, South Fulton, a city that's 4 years new, a city that myself and a plethora of others helped get to fruition, a city where I stood with the police chief just under a year in council as we adopted 21st century policing as law in our city. But the twist that I added was that, and this is a good one, brothers, we're the only city in the entire country where if an officer maims or kills an individual, no matter right or wrong, guilt or innocence, that officer or officers have to be subjected to an alcohol and drug test. Huge. Every time in this line of work, you know, we're waiting on the toxicology report from the victim. Now we get to see what's in the officer system. You know, and this is not a got you moment, right? You know, it's a way for the city and the officers to, the city and the police department to stand confidently on behalf of their officers' behavior that it was of sound mind and body. But if it wasn't, right? So an instrumental part within this city and specifically policing, right now, there are 2 individuals that are at this point in time. The GBI report went to District Attorney Fonnie Willis, sister that just made history, and it went to Chief Keith Meadows. Keith Meadows is charged with making any administrative decisions. I want him fired. Others want him fired. His actions are deplorable, not to mention all the falsification of documents on what happened, lying to a superior officer. District Attorney Fonnie Willis is charged with if there are any criminal charges moving forward. Assault and battery is one I can think of, and of course a violation of my Fourth Amendment rights.
Now, for folks who are not in Atlanta and are not too familiar with the case, the officer actually pulled out a taser and threatened
Yes,
to
sir,
tase
he
you,
did, brother. Yes, sir, he did. And from what other officers tell me, you know, a taser has a top part that can pop off, and that is so you can do what's called a dry stun if you decide to put it on someone's person. Technically, there are areas you're not supposed to put: groin, neck, heart. Not only did he not pop off that top cartridge, which, by the way, has an explosive kind of mechanism in it that allows it to shoot the prong. So if he would have hit me in a place that is recommended you don't put it, I also would have received some burn damage from that explosive cartridge. I just want to say one thing real quick, because this is a brother. You know, we know all the time about the racial components, you know, laced with white supremacy, the patty rollers, but unfortunately, but fortunately, since this is a brother, we get to speak to a broader scope, the police culture, right? You know, black, white, polka dot, whatever it is, the police culture, you know, thought that he could aggressively do what he did. The police culture makes him, you know, made him think even though I was filming and his body cam was recording, he could still falsify what happened. It's the police culture. So it is pending, and we're anticipating this city, which we adopted 21st century policing, and this is totally counter to that. We want them to put some action forth. Last point. To the city of South Fulton, you don't have to wait on the district attorney's decision criminally to make an administrative decision. So what the fuck is taking so long?
So let's start. I mean, if people want to find out more about the Kendrick Johnson case, where can they go find out more? And then I'm going to ask similar question. If they want to find out more about what's happening with you, where can they find out more about what's happening with your case too?
Marcus T. Coleman, come right to the Instagram. I'm building a website. I have a website, but an old one. I'm building one now, so I got everything coming to Marcus T. Coleman on Instagram. And we got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you know, 8 years with Kendrick. It ain't happenstance about those 17 boxes, 17 years. It ain't happenstance that this drops right after, you know, this happens to me. It ain't happenstance that I grew up 3 blocks or so around the corner from where this happened to me with Corporal Solomon Muhammad, a brother, a Muslim brother, a fruit at that. I need to say that I appreciate the apologies from Student Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad on behalf of the nation. Actions unbecoming, to say the least. And last point I'll make on this, the Nation of Islam has taken more accountability as far as rectifying the wrongs of one of their officers, a person that wears the uniform, has done a better job than the damn municipality that I pay taxes to. And it's a black city, the blackest city supposedly in America, 86.6% black. But I think we got Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you heard it here, Renegade Culture. So follow this case on Marcus Coleman's Instagram, like he said.
Marcus T. Coleman.
Marcus T. Coleman on Instagram.
And the T stands for tell the truth and stay in check.
Oh, man, I like that.
There you
I
go.
like that. Yes, sir.
So it's a hot show. We'd like to thank everybody who watched our show. Remember, they can catch us on blackpowermedia.org.
That's right.
Congratulations on that,
thank you
brothers.
for that, brother. Thank you for that so much. They can catch us on YouTube. Chill out, man. We're doing my outro. You know what I'm saying? They can catch us on YouTube at Black Power Media. And they can catch us on all our social media. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're doing a minister service.
I know. I was like, you gonna stop talking right now. I'm trying to get off the show.
Who came up with the first hip hop record in 2012?
Y'all are inspiring others, brother.
We thank you for that, brother. Renegade Culture, y'all. Thank y'all. Boom.